It's Monday, March 14th. And as I come to you live from the cushion of my comfy home, um, I want to call in forward and through as much peace and as much light, okay, into the narratives that are showing up for ourselves and what it means for us. Even myself, there has been a deep undertow of really cathartic healing, transmutation that's going on. And if the tone today seems a little bit heavier than normal, or a little bit more deep than normal, it's a part of honoring the sacred space and the practice of what's going on with the astrology, to just go really deeper into that feeling and towards doing what we can to facilitate shifting it out, especially as there's a lot moving collective through what's occurring. And so I invite you to do what you can to really stay in your heart through the shifting that's occurring and through what's arriving and aligning. I want to talk a little bit about the walk with Neptune. Right now, this stage that we're in astrologically in March can really start propagating the next level of what our transformation means for us. And I've been talking about this, but it's becoming more and more prevalent how much we can take the opportunity of the planetary alignments and allow it to work with us to really get deeper into our clarity, deeper into our knowing, and deeper into the soul, deeper into our alignment. But once again, we have to use the energies to work with us, not against us. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Neptune. Woo! Neptune can be a very catalytic, very, very, very catalytic energy to work with for us. It's really fascinating because we have to look at the harmonic exchange that we have with our planetary system as we are moving through these passageways. Okay, there's some highlighted focus that my universe brought forward for me today to talk about, and I'm not talking about necessarily the astrology, but how the energy is working with us right now and what it's bringing forward. Right. Let's start out talking about Mars and Mercury, guys. Highlighting communications. We have to start looking at, not have to, we don't have to do anything. So I'm being mindful of my words here. Thank you, Mercury. But as we are working with harmonizing with these planets, okay, Mars and Mercury very much so what's up right now is how we are communicating. How we are communicating through the aggression. How we are communicating through the internal conflict, how we are expressing our truth, and how we are also, it's really about being mindful of where we're coming from when we're communicating. A lot of us right now are a highlighted focus is communication within our own connections in the horizontal, right? So whether this be a relationship, partner, friends, is we have to start looking at where we're coming from within our communications and where other people are coming from. So we're going to see a little bit more of that tyrannical communication, right? The soapbox, the powerful, the one who hogs the conversation, right? Or the one that starts telling you what needs to be done, and a little bit more of that patriarchal dominant expression of the communication. That in itself, guys, for energetic awareness, is when someone is coming to your space with communication armed and loaded. Okay. This has been a highlight for the blueprinting of communications between us, between tribe, and between family and loved ones, is where people are entering or where we are loading up our energy for the communications that we're bringing forward. So, of course, with the focus on Neptune is the opportunity for peace, right? So a lot of this is that as we are bridging into what it is to have healthy, peaceful communications amongst tribe, amongst family, amongst our partners, and how we share our truth from a heart-centered expression and our clarity, we're starting to activate what the higher harmonic of communications is in our own life. And this is why we're calling forward a lot of light into this scenario. Because even ourselves, right, we look at internal conflict. And with internal conflict, we have the reactive approach to communication. We also have the passive approach to communication, right? So it really is about a fine tuning and a delicate balance of where we can breathe into the spot of pain or the spot of trigger or the spot of anger, and how we can healthily release that while still maintaining and stabilizing the peaceful communications amongst our family, amongst our friends, amongst the village, amongst the tribe, right? And so with that highlighted focus with Mars and Mercury, we're going to start seeing that, we're purifying the domination of communications. We're purifying where we come from, recognizing how we can alleviate the triggers within our own lives, within humanity, so we don't have these really big catalytic and explosive style of communication. It's really interesting because the depth of feeling right now can make us a little bit more reactive. But we have to look up where we're still loading our energy behind what we are stating. And so if you've got anger, if you've got that distortion, if you've got that grief, look at, before I speak, am I loading this up with an energetic current that can spark some sort of energetic battle or war? Right? Because we're very much so in the process of working with that Mars energy and in bringing in that Venusian tone to help to like really calm and stabilize and bring peace to that. And a lot of it right now, because of Neptune, is really going to highlight, if we're looking at that lower harmonic range or the shadow side of Neptune, right? The lower harmonic of Neptune, we're going to start looking at illusion. We're going to start looking at deceit, trickery, right? And so as a result, it's like, see, even as we're talking about it, we're clearing it, is that being able to witness our own patterning right now, and then how we are communicating that with others. It might feel like right now you just can't get your head above water in communications with friends, loved ones, relatives. Things won't be coming out clear. Or for you, it might be with that, there might be a lot of clarity and a lot of passion behind what you're saying too. It depends upon what you're working on and what you're blueprinting in your own life, right? Neptune itself has been expressing a lot of its multiple bandwidths to me, right? So there's been this opportunity to step more into the artistic, creative expression and to ignite that, which is going to help to discover a lot. But with it too, I have been witnessing the lower octaves of Neptune and how it affects me, right? So especially when we're looking at deception, if any of you guys are aware of ADS, I don't want to speak the words out into existence for obvious reasons, but we're going to see a lot of the illusion and the deception of the old 3D systems coming up, and especially how it ties to addictions. Okay. So if you've worked, if you worked in the grids, if you worked in the gates, and you're aware of certain energetics and what has existed in the third dimensional systems, we mentioned the A word here, you might be like, why is this coming back, right? Well, Neptune highlighting that, it's going to highlight those addictions. It's going to highlight the deception, highlight the illusion. Now, here's what we do. We can either fixate to the illusion, the deception, the guilt, the addiction stuff when it comes to Neptune, or we can facilitate in choosing, witnessing the higher harmonic of what that is and to shift the belief system out. Because once again, at the end of this astrology can come a much clearer, beautiful, bolder, stronger, and gorgeous version of you if we choose to allow it to facilitate us in shifting out what we need to shift out. So even myself included, it's been like, wow, here's an opportunity to shift. What is the gift from this and how can I let it go? Okay. So a lot of it too has been that tyrannical approach to everything has been coming up. And as a guys, like, here's the thing, is that with the light influxes that are available and the recoding of all of these energies, including, Saturn too. Saturn very much so looking at our own prison and our own stuckness. And as we're recalibrating those energetics in our body, we can come out a lot more refined version of ourselves and a lot more freer version of ourselves as well. Okay. Venus and Chiron, though. We've got 2 Chiron placements showing up. I think it's a Moon conjunct Chiron and Venus and Chiron. So as a result, there it is. There's the wounded healer. There's the trauma, right? There's the victim. There's the sacrifice, right? There's all of that really, really deep inner child stuff that goes on with Venus and Chiron. We look at the wound of the mother, the wound of creation, right? The wound of magic. But we also look at the imbalance of our own polarities and our own internal structures as we're stepping into service. Neptune can bring a lot of unconditional love for us. Okay. But once again, it is the catalyst to move and to shift through whatever polarities Neptune is gifting you so you can come to this place of a deeper understanding of what unconditional love means for you. So it's letting go, it's repairing, it's reparenting, it's integrating. And it's then, how do I take the lessons from this Neptunian passageway and move forward with them? And we're looking at more than just that, guys. We're also looking at spring equinox coming up. So equinox influxes, right? So it's spring, summer, I believe, right? Spring, summer, or spring, fall, depending upon where you're at in the universe. Hey, how's it going, Juice? So when we see that we also have this equinox shift coming up, guys. Transitional awareness, right? Letting go, dissolving the old. What are we crystallizing for the new pathways that are opening up for us? What is it that we really, really are looking for out of our own experience, right? Because the thing is like the way that everything is showing up for us right now is an opportunity to see, feel, and to witness within that which we need to let go of. Whether this is belief system, ideology, pain, right? There is a highlighted focus on that which no longer serves. And because of how intuitive the energetics are, because of how much we are expanding into our own awareness, it will become very, very apparent what doesn't serve right now. And then it's up to us with the choice point on how we choose to let it go and how we let the narrative shift. Because once again, the ending of this, I feel and know from within, the ending of this astrology is going to be a really deep, profound self-love of unconditional love for ourselves and for the situations that we've experienced. But it's really up to us to go into, what is the gift of this for myself? What is this gifting me? And how can I let it fall and dissolve? There is a lot with internal conflict, guys. And with Venus and Chiron, it's how we are relating to other people. Mars and Mercury. In that relation point, are we responding from a trauma, or are we responding from that higher light version of ourselves or the higher self? Are we responding from the soul, or are we responding from the trauma and the wound? This is coming back to that loaded communication. Right? There are a lot of people that are energetically arming themselves right now. And with Chiron being at this forefront, right, is where are you allowing yourself to be the energetic punching bag of other people? Where are you allowing yourself, these people, to come in with their energetic weapons loaded behind their communication and firing those things forward? So while there is a lot of opportunity for peace available, right? While there's a lot of opportunity for peace available through this transition, we also have to take a stand to not allow those things to occur. Sometimes the most peaceful thing to do too is to stand up and to say, I'm sorry, that's not okay. And to stand in your power, or to walk away. These energies are catalytic, but they don't have to be the final result, right? Because I would say the intensity of the energies can cause for a little bit more of the dramatic approach to things. which is the all or nothing propositions. I'm here or I'm not here, or this is done for good or walking away, right? We can also take a moment to really settle in and go, hey, right now is a deep space of healing. There's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of stuff with how I'm relating to myself and relating to other people, relating to the horizontal, and I'm in a process of self-discovery. And the more that we can surrender to that, the more that we can step away from that. I need to do something abrupt to shift this right now. We can actually challenge ourselves to flow and to go, yeah, this sucks, but like, I can also continue to work on myself. I can continue to open up to this divine flow. I can continue to open up for how I'm blueprinting this in my own life and how I'm caring for myself. And as a result, we can see great transformation that occurs for ourselves. We can see great transformation that occurs. It does feel like, I woke up this morning and I was like, yo, I'm in really big grief right now. And I was like, do I go live within this grief structure? Like, do I show up with this? And as much as I kind of can say I feel a little bad for showing up within that energy and producing that forward, I also recognize that there's a part of my sacred remembrance and sacred witness to show up even in those places. And to know that even though I'm grieving, whatever it is I'm grieving, even though I'm feeling the death and the transformation, that even though we're feeling what we're feeling, a part of blueprinting that Mercurian energy, okay, is that we can still show up with a place of compassion here. We can show up with compassion and with love and in how we're sharing and how we're expressing to one another. Right. These are very personal energies to be in right now. And it's not because it's personal and life is against you. It's because there's a gift awaiting for you. It's personal transformation. Okay, personal transformation. Yeah, the sadness has been big here. The sadness, the resentment, the feeling lost, the lot of internal conflict, not knowing which way to go. Guys, our clarity is coming. We're in an extremely big light influx on the planet, not even to mention what's going on with the sun. Good, I'm glad, Michelle. Yeah, it was deep all day yesterday. And that's why I posted the Napoleon Dynamite thing. Like yesterday, it just wouldn't shift. And I was like, what is going on? And after having discussions and, talking to my own partner about this, she's like, collective. And I was like, ew. And then all of a sudden it was like, just dance. Dun, 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 dun. And I saw Napoleon Dynamite. I was watching the video of him doing the dance, and it just shifted everything out. It was like, I forgot that life can be playful, right? Because that's the thing, guys, is we have to look at that, especially when it comes to the depth of the energies and the depth of where this is going within us. Like, we can also take an opportunity to say, how can I shift out of this energy and come back into a place of joy? Because I can also enjoy my experience again. And I feel like even for myself, right, shifting into that level of joy is sometimes not easy. Right? It's not that like there's something wrong with being in that garbage pit of despair. Because I'm good at sitting there. But there is also this harmonic bandwidth opportunity. Okay. And this is what is happening for us within the newness, is that there is a higher octave range. There's a higher bandwidth that we can activate from within by choosing a different routine and a different way to shift. We can choose a different way to shift today. And that's a lot of it, is like, there is a lot of polarity that's moving through. But we do have this higher that we can activate and we can stimulate and we can step into. Yeah, and it's not about faking it till you make it. Not at all, organic. It's not about faking it. It's about also witnessing, like for some of us, do we have to sit in that for too long? Because yesterday, it would not shift. It would not shift. And then, and a part of that was, and this is back to that Neptunian illusion for myself, is the deception to believe that while I'm there, that I have to stay there. And that actually, if I shift my focus, it might just shift my entire reality. And it did. It actually did. And it was something where even myself, I was like, no, I can't. Like, I have to stay in this emotion. Like, I have to move through this. And it was really interesting stepping into that, like, hey, you know, I can now do something a little bit different to shift the perspective, even if for temporarily, to find some relief from this, right? Because this is kind of heavy and punishing energy. But once again, can we allow this transformative cycle and the transformation of these energies to work with us and to flow us in a new direction? Because we are going to get clearer on ourselves. Our intuitive abilities are expanding and expressing, especially with Neptune. Neptune being that of psychic and of the dream realms as well, is that we're going to see an expansion of abilities. We're going to see more opportunity to witness what's going on in dream time. A lot more sensitivity within dream time too. A lot more of that awareness. So then this is the gift of awareness then, guys, is that the gift of awareness is, what do we do with that awareness? What do we do with that awareness? How do we take that awareness and use it to propagate a healthier routine, a more balanced lifestyle, to create a decision or to create movement in our lives, right? Because if you feel like there are things that have been holding you back, those are the catalysts that are being asked of you to let go of, so we can arrive into what this newness is. Truly arrive into what this newness is. And a lot of this, since, it's really interesting, I've even noticed for myself that there's a lot of stuff that can't be projected anymore. It tends to go deeper within. Or if it tries to be projected, it kicks back so quickly because of the light quotient and because our universe is, that it can almost turn into a level of self-punishment, right? We have a lot of opportunity to invite in peace and love and nurture for ourselves right now, with the amount of what's coming on. And guys, think about what we do when we end this story. The storylines of internal conflict, of war, the stories of tyrannical communications, right? The loaded energetic, right? When someone's bitter and resentful, and that they've got an energetic cannon in their pocket and they're about to fire one at you. Yeah. The more we resolve and dissolve that, guys, the more that we end what this conflict is on planet Earth, and we walk it off and we celebrate what the renewal of the unification and the peace is within our own lives. Okay. So a lot of that is a really beautiful choice to end conflict within ourselves and with others and within our community, especially, guys, especially us being light workers. Like, we have to be able to, when it comes to showing up and serving the collective, and how we're connecting with one another. Hey, Fairy. Hey, Faye. When it comes to the intertribal dialogue and the tribal communication links, is that we can all witness that we, throughout our process of elevating and expanding, are going to have moments of push points and of triggers and of lapses and of catalytic moments. But we don't have to let it step into and create more discord within the family of the soul tribe, the family of the community, and even our own bloodline family. And we can actually take this moment as an opportunity to go, okay, I get to upgrade my energetic tool set. I get to upgrade my skill sets, and I get to practice what peaceful and healthy communications are with my loved ones while I'm going through a process. It really is like, I'm seeing now, the more that we step into that blueprint of what we can do to create solutions for the community, for ourselves, and for one another, the more that we're going to walk these storylines off the planet, and we're not going to see them anymore. Especially with Mars and Mercury. There's a lot happening too with the masculine energetics, and I've been talking about it a lot. We've been seeing a lot of people talking about the birth of the new masculine, and the dissolution of this masculine, and the end of the war, and all this stuff. And a lot of us right now making that decision to honor our peace fully and to stand as peace is really, 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 really important. So, by the way, OI, Oi, I want to talk to you about the coffee thing. That's Neptune. They're like, be mindful of drugs, like, because the thing is it's not only the light quotient of the sun, right? Yesterday we're kind of sitting at a KP5 and KP6 most of the day, so solar wise it was pretty solarized all day. And I do know we have more light influxes from the sun that are coming today, more light codes from the solar gates and from the star gates. Is that, yeah, it's like, even with Neptune, it's be mindful of what you're taking in right now, because it can be a little bit more reactive and our sensitivity is increasing, our physical body's sensitivity. And guys, this is a key one, is that this is what creates radical shift and transformation. Like, this kind of energy is when people make the decision to get clean. This is the kind of energy where people choose to step into their life path. This is the kind of energy when people start to see the illusion and start to make a repair. This is the time, yeah, just keep napping, Michelle. That's a big one, is like, this is a time where you can rest and integrate. This is where people are going to start honoring themselves, right? Because the sensitivity, right, or let's say the energetic awareness of what's occurring in the world is going to bounce people to refine their self-love and their self-care. All right. Especially with, like, when I woke up this morning, I saw Chiron there. I was like, you, Chiron. Because Chiron started hitting me about, I think it was 2 days ago, when Chiron was at the forefront. And I was like, yo, why is this happening again? Like, can we shift this narrative? And it's not even for, like, the community and for the collective. It was myself. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, can we please shift this out? Yeah, the addictive behavior is a big one coming up a lot to be worked out. Yeah. And Faye, I've been noticing that. Like, I was like, why are these addictions coming in, right? Like, why is this occurring? And this is where, for myself, because of the grids, I'm aware of ADS. I'm aware of Jehovian stuff. I'm aware of the Nephilim stuff. And I'm like, why is this coming up? Like, especially since there's been such a highlighted focus on relationships with Mars and Venus, guys, that we're going to start to see the lines of misogyny coming up in men, right? The misogynistic dude, the addiction to sex, the addiction to other substances as well. We're going to start to see how that ties into our own root systems, right? Where we're engaging with the lower bandwidth of anything within the root and the sacral, right? And this has been coming up even for myself, is like, myself, I was like, am I getting caught in weird pockets and distortion? What's going on in dream time? And then when I saw what was going on with Neptune, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense, guys. It's like, it's up right now. And it really is up to us to either push past it, to see beyond the illusion of those things, or to practice a healthy energetic balance and healthy energetic guidelines to shift out of those belief systems, to shift out of those energies, and to note that there will be a time when we are engaging in a purified container or in a purified energetic of that. So it's like the expulsion of belief systems brings up the murk, the layers, the layering of stuff. And a lot of the conditioning of this, especially in regards to misogyny, especially in regards to misogyny, it's so deeply layered within the consumerism profiles all over the world, right? So all you have to do is walk into a grocery store, and you will see all that stuff splattered everywhere. Just go to a magazine rack, right? Go on Instagram, right? Like, honestly, just go on Instagram, especially if you're a spiritual person. Just go on Instagram. You're going to run into it, right? And so what we're doing is it's now going to highlight and propagate that awareness for ourselves on what we can do to double down, what we need to let go of, right? What kind of things we want to consume in regards to content, belief systems, what we're communicating with other people. It's going to bring up that shame. It's going to bring up those things within so many different collective groups and collective people. Once again, how can we work with it to allow it to transform us? And to recognize that maybe it's time for us to let go of some certain things from our lives, right? Especially that addiction focus is like liver. Let's look at obsession. Right? Like, and that's been a key one. Like, liver and adrenals have been getting affected so much for me over here. There's also been a lot of throat stuff, guys, going on. And I've been feeling that where we're blocking our own communications, where we're not sharing our truth, where we're not sharing our voice, where we're blocking other people from being able to share their truth, right? And the other thing too with the focus with Mars and Mercury there is like maybe you want to share, but you don't want to share from a place of war. You don't want to share from a place of fight, right? And so as a result, it's like very much so harmonizing with what that new throat is, that new communication, right? Liver, adrenals, throat. Yep, same here. Liver, adrenals, throat have been big ones. And so, you know, once again, is that it's like, even for myself, I've been having to eat a lot of chocolate because of the adrenals stuff going on. Wanting to eat a little bit more sugar has been necessary to keep up with the processing. Just go with what feels right for you and for your body, guys. But guys, we're engaging in a whole new way, right? I'm even noticing, I don't know how to put this in the words, but I noticed this morning, is that even the purification of anger in our own lives is changing. I've noticed that while there are the catalytic expulsions and explosions that occur within myself of anger and aggression, I also noticed that it's a lot easier to go deeper into the pain, the sadness, and to really get real with, rather than the anger being, you know, F you or blame them or, you know, whatever it is, there's a deepening within that I can actually go straight to the core or the root of the anger and go right to the sadness. Yes. So guys, if you're craving those, please don't judge yourself. There's a lot of conditioning, new age stuff that's like, oh my gosh, listen to your body, right? Because I know that when I'm processing all this stuff, like, because think about how small this was. There was a sister that mentioned this the other day over on Clubhouse. The adrenals are so small, okay, and they're the way that they function and the way that they process is sometimes they might need that little boost to get through and to shift what needs to shift out with the adrenals. But once again, that's all those fear systems, guys. That's the Neptunian, that's the ADS stuff. And if you don't know what ADS is, I invite you to look up. I'll spell it out: ARCHON, deception strategy. Okay, you'll see why these layers are coming up. Okay, so a lot of that old 3D focus on the illusion of the prison systems and things comes up, and we can invite in freedom forward and through into those systems, right? But we also are working with a deeper layer of purification of those systems to where that there is freedom, as long as we don't allow these things, we don't attach to the narrative, and we detach ourselves from those situations, where we detach ourselves from those scenarios and from those people that are still propagating those pathways, right? So us as a community, right, we in our own day-to-day, in our sacred ceremony, can start working with recoding and upgrading our connections to the planetary body. Yes, I'm on Clubhouse. Yeah, Wendy, I'm on Clubhouse. Yep. We as a collective group can work through, because there's people that are already doing this, guys. There's people that are already upgrading, you know, and they're recoding the energetics of the planet. Like, the planets themselves are recoding with us. We don't need to consciously do this, but we can also take a moment to step out today and to go, okay, all right, higher harmonic of Neptune, express yourself to me, right? Chiron, the higher harmonic, the higher octave of Chiron, bring it forward and through, right? Mars and Mercury, let's bring it forward and through. Because those are the focus points for me, a lot of the focus on Neptune. But then also witnessing, guys, that we're, once again, equinox. The equinox shift, this is what happens, right? Because it's another level of dismantling. It's another level of unplugging. And then it's awakening what this newness is for ourselves. And so a lot of things don't feel like, if things feel like they're in flux, okay, like you're not quite sure, it's because we're still in such a big, beautiful passageway of what equinox entails for ourselves, right? So whenever we reach these gateways of shifting, right, shifting into a new season, things can feel like they're in flux, because it's like we're just kind of like there, right? We're there. It comes, it's like we let go of what we need to let go. We anchor and crystallize the pathways for what the next season brings for us, and then we open up and we walk forward with that, right? So just note that if you feel like unsure, you're not sure what's going on, like where things are going, where things are headed, I invite you to just boop, relax. Oh, thank you, Kiki. Relax and allow yourself to flow with where you're at, and to know that like we're expanding and we can just let everything be in repair right now. Like we don't really have to do a whole lot. Some people do. Here's what I want to state, guys. With this kind of energy, with this kind of explosive energy, if you are witnessing domestic violence, if you are witnessing any form of bullying, I invite you to remove yourself from that situation, because you don't have to sit in the pain body. Let's not let astrology and what's going on in the energetics gift you an opportunity to just be a freaking walking punching bag. Don't. We can't use this as an excuse to get our asses whipped day in and day out. I'm sorry. You don't have to. So you also have the right through this, right? That if your relationships or your environment gets punishing, that there are people that you can reach out to. There are, and while a lot of them might not be in like the way that some people might perceive them or want them to be, okay, that actually, in regards to what we're having available to us with the crystalline connections and the crystalline availability of resources, is that these resources will provide something for you, right? So if you're dealing with abuse, or you're a survivor of abuse, or any of those things, guys, just be really kind to yourself and gentle with yourself right now. And also say no more. Step out of those situations if they're too toxic for you, right? We don't want to negate the red flags, guys. We just don't. We don't want to negate the red flags. It's your choice on how you want to work with it, right? Like, especially in regards to relationships, family, things like that, is you can sit there and choose to work through these things. You can address the issues and see if they can dissolve and resolve, right? But you also have an opportunity to just step away from it fully and to go, you know what, I deserve better, right? And so if you are dealing with anything that is just, remotely abusive, or it's getting toxic to the point where it is draining you and your well-being is being affected, I invite you to look at that, and I invite you to start doing something for yourself to take care of yourself at a greater and greater level. Yeah, hall pass. Give yourself the hall pass to walk away. And it can be temporary too, guys. Like with all this stuff, there's so much availability. Like, so even myself, like I'm going through so many radical shifts and transformations in the programming department and in the wounding, what I'm feeling within the collective, the divine masculine stuff, all of this, that at some level I'm like, whoa, I don't even know what's going on. But it's just like something happens and it's like, okay, breathe. Center point, balance, go outside. Gaia, harmonize with Gaia. We call in peace to the trajectory. We call in the highest form of love, right? We declare our sovereignty, our freedom, our free will, and our autonomy. Breathe through it. All right, re-engage, right? And like little simple practices, right, like that can do so much good for you guys. Like myself included. I hit an influx, bam, something sparks, ignites, there's a trigger, there's a miscommunication, there's some sort of deception or illusion within the communication lines, and there's a distortion and there's no clarity. Okay, cool. Step away. Go outside. Gaia, harmonize with planet Earth. Gaia, I breathe in peace and relaxation to this now moment. I choose to end and dissolve the war within my body, mind, and space. Right? I harmonize with love. I hold the container of self-love and self-value, and I honor this fully. Aho Samo to be. Right? Re-engage. Yeah, the breathing through has been a big one. Here too. And guys, once again, it's like we are mastering our communications right now on all levels. How we're communicating with the planetary body, how we're communicating with our own guides, how we're communicating with ourselves, how we're communicating with one another. There is a highlighted focus on the restructuring of our own internal communications. Yeah. So it's been very, very, very important, right? That we highlight that focus awareness of like, what can I do to propagate more peace in my communications? How am I communicating to my form? How am I communicating to one another? And begin really taking a moment to recognize that us as a community, as a tribe, can work together towards dissolving and resolving and letting go of some of these narratives. So even myself, when I see that I'm encountering a narrative in my own reality, in my own life, it's that moment for all of us to pause and go, oh, here's an opportunity to shift. What can I do to shift? Yep, opens up to more telepathy, yes. And even purification within the telepathy, right? Because there is still a lot of distortion and holographic overlay that can start to play on fear. Back to the deception, guys, back to that Neptunian deception and illusion, is as we're repairing this, we're also repairing our own communication links to spirit and to the universal systems. Because it's important for us to have that cosmic upgraded focus to our communication links to the cosmos and to one another in the telepathic ranges, because there still is a lot of room for illusion here, and there's a lot of room for deception in the lines, and as a result, that miscommunication can start. We have to look at false flag, guys, like the false flag campaigns, which has been coming up a lot, and a lot of those false flag and the fear campaigns that I've seen, that have been hitting in my own life, are all in regards to the lines of interference within the multidimensional communications. And so those lines of interference is some of us are not getting our downloads, right? Like, has anyone else been like, where are the downloads at? Right? Let's look at our Starlinks. Like, let's look at our communications, right? Because there might be downloads or things that have been caught up in astrals, or been caught up in other things that we're opening up and repairing right now. But also too is that there is a lot of that, and we have to look at our own hologram, the holographic overlays, the distortions, the holodecks that we upload to ourselves, and purify those and really cleanse what it is to have a multidimensional communication link, because that does key into our planetary body, and it does key into our universal expression and what we are not only communicating with other people, but what we're receiving in regards of communications. Because once again, with all this Jupiter and guru energy that's falling out, we're also seeing the rise of those, which means that there can be false communications and false links that are still creating war, fear, Armageddon, and we don't have to play into that, right? So a lot of the gift of our mastery is repairing our own internal communication links and doing what we can to shift those things out, right? Because there still is a lot of he said, she said. There is, when it comes to the New Age community, when it comes to psychics, and it comes to prophets and things like that, there's a lot of people that will, especially Mars Mercury guys, once again. With that Mercury, we're looking at communicating. And so especially with this, if there's an esoteric communication, is this really in its highest vibrational format? Like, is this an awareness that I want to propagate in my own life? And that's the tool of discernment and clarity for you to be able to maximize for what your inner truth is, and then how you can go and shifting that, or once again, letting go of that narrative or that individual, whatever, so we don't have to step into those old lines, of the guru. Yeah, it does help with the distortions. So a lot of journaling, guys, a lot of processing, brain dumps, very important. Brain dumps have been very, very, very important over here too, to just continue letting this stuff, shift through as we're awakening to what this newness is. All right. So guys, I want to talk about this too, is a healthy container for Chiron's expression. I invite you, if you have, once again, Chiron's been a big one for me to shift. We worked through in Tuesdays with Corey with elevating Chiron. But if you have any sort of issues with Chiron energy, I invite you to create a healthy container to express Chiron in your own way, and to play with the energy of Chiron. So think of it like building a field, building a bubble where it's a safe place for you to relax, which is like almost like your own healing chamber, to have, whether it is the internal argument, the internal love, and to express Chiron through your body. Now, whether or not you choose to actually share this with the world as a form of creation, or it's just something you do for sacred practice, I invite you to do that. And call it in and forward. I'm calling forward a sacred container to build within, to work with Chiron. And then how does Chiron want to be expressed to you? Because Chiron, with Venus and Chiron, we're looking at the relation to others, but it always reconnects to the relation to self. Right. So this is an opportunity right now. Like yesterday, this was another key that came up yesterday, and I want to bring this up, was how separated I felt. Oh my gosh, I feel so human right now. So separated from source, so separated from family, so separated from tribe, right? That level of separation is inviting in an expression. And once again, does this expression of separation come through towards others? Or can we work with our own energies of that expression to find out what the creative expression of that is as well, right? So for some of you, it might be music. Like me, I got out my guitar yesterday and I was just jamming. Just jamming. So it's like, it's really one of those where we can take this Chiron energy and all of this deep wound, and we can work with the higher light of Neptune to create something from it. Like we can take it and turn it into the arts. We can turn it into music. And guys, this is back to our own alchemy. This is our alchemy. Is that we can take this experience and we can turn it into something beautiful and allow it to flourish. Okay. So it's really one of those things that we all have the opportunity to do. But I invite you all this week to play with that energy if you feel guided to, right? Is to sit within your own energetic sphere, your own container, to build what a healthy Chiron expression is and to invite it in, because Chiron can be very beautiful in its expression too. This is when poetic justice comes out. And when we're looking at that Mercurian energy, right, that communications, is that this is also a time where we can actually take what's going on in the world and we can turn it into poetic justice, or we can turn it into some sort of alchemy that can help other people to awaken. And it's not in the way where we are on the pedestal and telling people what to do, right? Which is a lot of that tyrannical communication, but it's how do we take our expression of our own art and bring it forward and through into what we're doing in our own projects and into our own reality, and finding a way to really phase shift, okay, essentially this energetic into what it is to be art. And that's us stepping into us as the alchemist, guys, you know, us as the alchemist. Also focus on the physical body with the anger, guys. When the anger comes in, do what you can to shift it out, right? Even myself, been trying to do a little bit more push-ups and a little bit more movement, exercise to get it out so it doesn't come out in a way. But also let's dive deeper, right? Anger is always at a deeper level coming from a place of fear or sadness or regret. And I've even found for myself, a lot of the anger that I feel is anger at myself. Yep, peacemaker. So we have the opportunity to come into deeper levels of unconditional love through this passageway. We do. We have the opportunity to come into deeper levels of unconditional love and more respect. More respect for ourselves and for one another. But it starts. It starts with self. It's all about how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to our internal condition, how we relate to our inner child. I've been cussing myself out too. But how we're communicating, back to the communication, guys. Let it out and shift it out. If you do need to, like, this is what I do, is if I'm having to cuss myself out or beat myself up, I have to step into love afterwards so I don't keep propagating that storyline. We shouldn't be punishing ourselves, guys. We should be loving ourselves more. We have an opportunity right now to take different versions of ourselves and walk them back to love and walk them back to the light. But it's our choice whether or not we go hand in hand with our own architecture and our own archetype to say, I'm walking you home. Okay. You can walk yourself home with this energy. You can walk yourself back to the love. It's just about witnessing where you've played in those areas of separation and inviting them in to go, hey, I know it's hard right now, but these versions of myself, these unconscious parts or these neglected childhood aspects or, you know, the wounded healer, let's go home. Right. And you can bring those back to the and you can really choose to bring yourself back to love today. If you want to. You know. If you want to. You have the choice to walk yourself back to love. So let's go ahead and do a little card read, a little card pull. Guys, once again, so there's self-love there. For me too, upgrading our skills. Thought self-care was easier than this. Well, we gotta either start, you know, for myself, I'm having to start to create new ways of self-care and self-love, or start to expand on the self-care and self-love routine I have, or to double down on it. So let's just do a little quick 3 cards. What messages want to come forward for the collective today in regards to walking with Neptune? Yeah, I love you guys too. Oh, man. All right, guys. So highlighted focus today. King of Swords, 8 of Swords, Star. I mean, if this isn't freedom, I don't know what is. We're looking at the energies of freedom here. So we are looking at our own, quantum entanglement, with this really powerful father masculine energetic of the King of Swords. A lot of focus right here on the communications, a lot of focus on mind and how we are bringing in the transmutation, which is interesting because this is Aquarian energy, the star being Aquarius. We are seeing so much air today. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's look at the power of our words, the power of our thoughts. This is veil stripping, guys. This is dissolving the veils. This can also too be in the freedom from domination, the dominating masculine, where we're still allowing this masculine energetic to hold us, right? And how we rise above that, and how we find what the naked truth is within these experiences. So the King of Swords, like, it's very direct, right? It is very powerful, but once again, it's got that shadow overlay, right? It's got that, like, the patriarchal, the militant, right? And how this contributes to our own imprisonment of mind, our own getting caught in situations, and how we unravel that and how we cleanse and purify, right? So this is like, since we do have Aquarian energy here, where this is all very air. A lot of air here, a lot of communication, a lot of intellect, a lot of thought. So doing what we can to cleanse and to purify this. So we are seeing a cleansing of our communications. We are seeing a purification of our communications, our purification of the mind. We are also seeing too, right, that we are the ones that are blueprinting the freedom for this archetype and how we are engaging with this archetype. So there's a new level of power, right? Especially with the solar codes coming through. I felt it this morning. I felt my solar plexus kind of aching. Like it was a solar plexus aching, and that's where the grieving was coming up. Because once again, our internal power structures are being reformatted right now, right? So as we're going through our power upgrade because of what's going on with the sun, we could be feeling the solar plexus a lot. But then that's the reignition of the spark too. That's the seed of, that's the soul coming online. That's the soul spark, right? But we want to look at how we're purifying this. So when people come with daggers, we choose love. But we also take a stand. That there's that direct stand to say, I'm not going to stand for this. I stand for my freedom. I stand for my freedom. I stand for my ability to move. I stand for my clarity. I stand for my healing. Right? So we are seeing that masculine energy kind of coming up again, the King of Swords. And really what it is to free ourselves from those communications, and freeing ourselves from that power struggle, power dynamic, because a lot of it, guys, is what I would call a quagmire or a stalemate. A lot of engaging with the energetics and blueprinting this and working with it in the old way, okay, is it's a quagmire, and it just keeps this stuckness alive. And so we're looking at closing the doors on the looping systems that keep us in a place of immovement from tyranny in our own lives. So it's where we're allowing the energetics of this tyranny or a militant to keep us stuck. This is like freedom from our own prison. And as a result, the star. When it comes to the Aquarian energy here of the star, that to me, that's air epoch energy, guys. That's freedom. That's the rebel. That's the movement. Moving on your own, right? This energy is very suppressive and very oppressive, but it can also be very powerful. So what we can do is we can take this lower light functioning, the lower harmonic resonance, right, of the domination and the suppression and the oppressor, and we can really harmonize what it is to have our power to stand up in our freedom, the power to stand in our healing and to show the way for that. So there is an alchemy, there is a transmutation here, as we can also go, you know, how can I take this suppressive and oppressive tone, this underlay or overlay, this undertow of oppression, and how can I awaken a new level of freedom in my own life with it? And recognize that I'm going through a cleansing cycle, that I'm going through a sacred ceremony through this passageway. So there is, for us, it's about open up to this next level of vulnerability in our own lives too, because the thing in King of Swords, it's very ordained. It's got, you know, the cloak, it's wearing a lot. Even with the Eight of Swords, she's wearing a lot. She's even tied up and bound, and the star is very the revelation of our naked truth, guys. So I invite you to see beyond the veil today and to see beyond your own perception of each other and coming back to the essence. Because there is a really raw, organic, and beautiful version of expression of you that's available right now within the star energy, but it's up to us to find that and to see that, right? Sometimes the naked truth doesn't feel good, though. And so a part of that revelation, right, and a part of the propagation of the awareness of that revelation is, can you feel good in your raw, authentic version of you? Stripped down version of you. Right. Oh, guys, beautiful. Right. We're looking at our own Akashic records here as the cloud cover, right? So we are diving into our own storyline, our own Yggdrasil tree, and where we've propagated oppression and suppression in our own lives and where we've allowed it to continue. So this is a narrative that we are shifting, and we're exposing what our raw truth is, and we're allowing the cleansing in. And what's really cool is we're looking at our own records. We're looking at our own Akash. Especially with Saturn, this can be karma. This can be, you know, when we're looking at our Hall of Records, this could be karmic stuff that's coming up. Collective shadow, collective karma with this. And our opportunity to shift it. Yeah, see, here's Wheel of Fortune, guys. There's Wheel of Fortune. Right, so we have the opportunity to shift this right now. We have the opportunity to shift our own Yggdrasil tree, to shift our own archival memory, to shift our own collective, by all of us making a choice to do that. Yeah. We have the choice to say, I don't want to work with this energy anymore. I don't. I'm not going to allow it to oppress me. I'm actually going to work with it to free me. This also, too, guys, this could be conquer strategies. Right here. Conquering land, right? Divide and conquer. This has a lot to do with colonization as well. Okay, so that comes up, right? So this is big energy to be in, guys. Even this reading is kind of a big energy. And even myself, it's like, whoa, looks like we're going into sacred ceremony today. Right? So just be mindful, guys, like that during this time of great unraveling, there is a lot that's unraveling in our own lives. But we also have this moment to be able to witness our own evolution, our own expansion. It just might not be here right now. Like, you might be getting glimpses and feelings of it, because even myself, I get glimpses of the upgrade. And then it just seems to like something else occurs, right? Is to just be kind with yourself. This is a time of self-love, a lot of compassion, and a lot of patience, right? While we move through this. And just be mindful, guys. It's more than just the astrology. We've got what's going on collectively. We've got the astrology. We've got all the sun stuff going on. And we've got equinox coming up. We're in a big passageway. We're in a big influx. So light quotient increases on planet Earth. Our stuff comes to the surface more. We're disengaging. We're untangling. We're detaching at greater and greater levels. So this does come from the sense of we have freedom, we have sovereignty, we have revelation, and we have clarity coming. That, of course, is going to bring its own things up to the surface. And then we're also in a process of shadow integration right now. on many different levels. Okay. Respect yourself, guys. Respect yourself. Work with those purified communication links. How can I express myself in a more kind, compassionate way? And if I can't be kind and compassionate, what can I do? And it's all up to you. But us as a community, we can work on this. We can. We can take time to bring in peace into our own awareness, to call forward the peace into our lives, and to express within peace. So we can also look at our own distorted connections, distorted relationships, or the distortion within our own lives. And we can take a moment to say, hey, today I call forward and through peace and love and freedom into those connections, and allow that to be the shift. Right? Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Detach when necessary. Hermit when you need to. Go share when you need to. And either way, you're being supported and loved and held right now. And the energetics right now, very much so, very, 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 very much so, are available for us to transcend and to transition. But we have to work with the energies as well. And good, nourishing food, that's been a big one. Key has been nourishing food, myself included. I haven't been able to get to the store. And yeah, so healthy food, very important here. Healthy food. And also, guys, self-love. Self-love. Take yourself out on a diet. A diet. What am I saying? Take yourself out on a diet. Oh my gosh. Take yourself out on a date. Excuse me. Take yourself out on a date. Watch movies, relax, play with the kid, do what you can. Do what you can to take care of yourself. And know that we are rising up through this. It just, for some of us, it might not be overnight, because, you know, yesterday was the Phoenix energies were coming through a lot. So there was a lot of this rise up, death, transformation, that Plutonian focus on Phoenix, on the Phoenix energies, right? Is that you want to grieve, and then you're back down in the swimming pool, you know. Let the lesson be the lesson. Let the wisdom be the wisdom. Okay. Extrapolate the wisdom. Find the courage to stand up for who you are, and to know that our belief systems are being challenged, but we're not going to let ourselves feel punished by this, or to victimize ourselves against the energetics. We are going to use this energy to catalyze our expansion, to deepen our knowing, and to deepen our self-love within our own container. Because we are the healers of our journey. There is no healer outside of us. It's our own internal connection to our light that propagates the transmutation, the healing in our own internal alchemy. And as a result, our alchemist is online right now in the body. It's your sacred architecture. It's the gnosis of you that is connected. And as long as you step into that trust and that knowing from within you, that you will get through this, that you will shift in this transition, and you will open up to a greater level of expansion and awareness in your own life, and you're going to harmonize with those new pathways, you're going to see the shift in this. We all are. We all are. It just might not be here right now. Okay. So I love you guys. I love you. Much love and respect to everyone out there. Let's go keep walking with Neptune. And you know, let's also, if you have a moment today and you feel guided to, connect with those higher harmonic bandwidths. Okay. What's the higher expression of Neptune expressing to me? What's the higher version of Chiron expressing to me? Mars, Mercury. How is that expressing to me in its highest vibrational form? Because we have bandwidths that we can navigate now, guys. Remember that. We have, in this expansion, we have opportunity. We're not fixated to one reality stream. We're not fixated to one bandwidth. We have an opportunity to shift up. The more that we expand, the more levels of awareness and floors of awareness we have to access. You're not fixated. You're not fixed to one energetic. Right? So honor your energetic boundaries, but also recognize that you do have the ability to allow in a new expression of everything. A crystalline expression within your relationships, a crystalline expression within your community, a crystalline expression of your communications, yes, a crystalline expression of the planetary systems, and a crystalline expression of the elementals as well. Okay. So guys, feel better. I know that we're all going through it at some level. Yeah. I guess I need fasting too. Yep. Thank you everyone for being here. Before I go, does anyone have any questions? And organic, take your time, hun. Whenever you want to email me, you can. Love to hear from you though. Yeah, the Phoenix was ridiculous. It was good though. Learning to embody the Phoenix. All right, guys. Well, we're done here. We're done here. So as we close out this sacred ceremony, I call in a wave of love and peace into your lives and into your journey today. Right. So as we separate ourselves, from this container and unify back with all of us, remember to breathe. Remember to find gratitude within this situation, and also ask that really important question to yourself, guys. What is this gifting me today? What is this entire experience gifting me today? There is a gift within this, but we have to find it. Okay? We've got to find that gift. The universe will show us what that gift is, but we have to also be open to see what the gift is. Sometimes the miracle is you. Sometimes the miracle is forgiveness. Sometimes the miracle is miracle healing. But right now, everything right now is working for us. It's not working against us. And I invite you to believe that right now, the planetary systems, everything that's going on with the light influxes, everything in the world is working for us. It's not working against us. And let's use that energy to alchemize it and to propel us into that next version of ourselves that's unconditional, that's more loving, more supportive, and more beautiful than we've probably ever seen before. All right? Love you guys. Be well. See you soon.